The massive viewing screen in the Zephyrian Command Center showed nothing but bad news. Red dots representing enemy ships moved closer to their home planet with each passing hour. Commander Vextar stared at the tactical display, his forearms crossed behind his back as he tried to count how many hegemony warships were heading their way. "Sir, we have incoming messages from our allies," announced Lieutenant Kethare from her communication station. Her voice carried hope that maybe, just maybe, help was finally coming. Vextar nodded quickly. The Zephyrian Republic had been part of the Galactic Coalition for over 200 years. They had fought alongside the Altarians during the Plasma Wars. They had shared their advanced mining technology with the Corvan Federation when their worlds needed rare metals. They had always answered when their allies called for help. Now it was their turn to ask. The first hologram that appeared was Admiral Thexron of the Altarian Republic. His tall, blue-skinned form looked serious as always, but something was different in his large black eyes. Something cold. "Commander Vextar," the Admiral began without any greeting. "The Altarian High Council has made a decision. We are pulling all our forces back to defend our core systems. The Hegemony Empire is too strong. We cannot waste our ships trying to save worlds that are already lost." Vextar felt his blood grow cold. "Admiral, we have been allies for centuries. Our trade agreements, our mutual defense pacts, are now void," Thexron cut him off. "This is a strategic withdrawal. The Altarian Republic will not throw away the lives of our people for a hopeless cause. I am sorry, Commander, but you are on your own." The hologram disappeared before Vextar could say another word. The command center fell silent. Every Zephyrian officer stared at the empty space where their oldest ally had just abandoned them. Lieutenant Kethare's hands shook as she worked her controls. "Sir, the Corvan Federation is calling," she said in a small voice. The next hologram showed General Moxtar, a large creature covered in gray scales. The Corvans were known as the greatest warriors in the galaxy. Surely they would not abandon a fight. "Commander Vextar, the Corvan Federation is moving our fleets to protect our borders. The hegemony has made it clear they only want Zephyrian territory. If we stay out of their way, they will leave us alone. We will not risk our ships for your people." Another ally gone just like that. One by one, every member of the Galactic Coalition called. The Zirian Collective said they were restructuring their military priorities. The Plasma League claimed they had urgent matters in their home systems. The Void Walkers simply said good luck, and cut the transmission. Each rejection hit Vextar like a physical blow. These were not just political allies. Many of the leaders calling had been his personal friends. He had shared meals with Admiral Thexron's family. He had fought beside General Moxtar during the border conflicts. He had trusted these people with his life. Now they were all leaving his people to die. "Sir," Lieutenant Kethare said quietly, "that was the last of our allies. No one else is answering our calls." Vextar walked slowly to the main viewing screen. Outside, he could see the distant lights of hegemony ships getting brighter as they moved closer. His own fleet consisted of 47 ships, mostly mining vessels that had been quickly armed with whatever weapons they could find. The hegemony was bringing over 300 warships. The math was simple and terrible. "How long do we have?" he asked his tactical officer. "At their current speed, they will reach firing range in 6 hours, sir." 6 hours. That was all the time left for the Zephyrian Republic. 1,000 years of civilization, art, science, and culture would end in 6 hours because their allies had decided it was not worth the risk to help them. Vextar thought about his daughter Linera, who was studying medicine on the university world. He thought about his brother's children, who loved to play in the crystal gardens of their home city. He thought about millions of Zephyrians who had never hurt anyone, who had only wanted to mine their asteroids and trade with the galaxy in peace. All of them would be dead or enslaved by tomorrow. "Sir, should we surrender?" asked his weapons officer. The question hung in the air like poison gas. Surrender meant slavery under the hegemony empire. Their people would spend the rest of their lives working in terrible conditions, mining precious metals for their conquerors. Their children would grow up as property, never knowing freedom. "No," Vextar said firmly. "We fight. Even if we cannot win, we fight. Our ancestors built this republic with their own hands. We will not give it away without a battle." His officers straightened up at his words. They knew they were going to die, but they would die as free Zephyrians, not as slaves. As the enemy ships grew larger on the screen, Vextar wondered if anyone in the galaxy would even remember their fight. Would anyone care that the Zephyrian Republic had tried to stand up to evil, even when they stood alone? He doubted it. The galaxy had already forgotten them. 3 days had passed since the siege began. Commander Vextar watched his tactical screen with tired eyes as another Zephyrian mining ship exploded under enemy fire. They had lost 18 vessels already, and the hegemony forces were barely scratched. The enemy commander was playing with them. Instead of finishing the battle quickly, the hegemony ships would attack for a few hours, then pull back to let the Zephyrians think about their hopeless situation. It was psychological warfare at its cruelest. "Sir, we have unknown ships dropping out of hyperspace," Lieutenant Kethare called out suddenly. Vextar looked at his screen and saw 12 small vessels appearing near the edge of the system. They were unlike any ships he had ever seen before. The design was rough and simple, with thick armor plating and basic weapon systems. They looked primitive compared to the sleek hegemony warships or even his own mining vessels. "Are they hegemony reinforcements?" asked his tactical officer. "No sir, the energy signatures are completely different," Kethare replied. "They are moving toward us, not toward the enemy fleet." The unknown ships positioned themselves directly between the Zephyrian fleet and the hegemony forces. Vextar could not believe what he was seeing. 12 small ships were challenging 300 enemy warships. His communication system activated with an incoming message. "Attention Zephyrian forces, this is Captain Kim Hyun of the Earth Defense Force. We received your distress signal. We are here to help you." Vextar had heard of Earth before. It was a dangerous world full of deadly creatures and harsh weather. The species there had only joined galactic civilization a few years ago. Most people called them Death Worlders, and stayed away from them. "Captain Kim," Vextar responded, "I appreciate your offer, but you only have 12 ships. The enemy has 300. This is not your fight. Commander, with respect, any fight against bullies is our fight. We humans have a saying, we do not leave friends behind." Before Vextar could respond, the hegemony fleet began moving toward the human ships. The enemy commander probably thought this would be easy target practice. The first battle was terrible to watch. Human ships were much slower than hegemony vessels, and their weapons were weaker. Within minutes, 3 human ships were badly damaged and limping away from the fight. But the humans did not retreat. Captain Park Min-soo's voice came over the communication channel. His ship was on fire and losing power. "Kim, my engines are gone, but I still have weapons. Tell my family I died fighting beside friends." Vextar watched in shock as the human captain turned his burning ship toward the nearest hegemony cruiser and pushed his engines to maximum power. The two ships collided in a massive explosion that lit up space like a small sun. "Did he just?" Vextar's tactical officer could not finish the sentence. "He sacrificed himself to take down an enemy ship," Vextar whispered. "I have never seen anything like it." The battle continued and more human ships were destroyed. But each time a human vessel was about to be destroyed, its captain would ram it into an enemy ship, taking both vessels down together. The hegemony had never faced an enemy that would deliberately destroy themselves to hurt the enemy. After 2 hours of fighting, only 6 human ships were left. But they had destroyed 15 hegemony vessels, including 2 heavy cruisers. The math should have been impossible. Captain Kim's voice came over the radio again. His ship was damaged, but he was still alive. "All human ships fall back to the asteroid field. We need to regroup and think of a new plan." The surviving human ships retreated toward a nearby asteroid mining area. The hegemony forces did not follow them immediately, probably because they were confused by what had just happened. Vextar opened a private channel to Captain Kim. "Captain, why did you come here? Your government could not have ordered you to help us. We have nothing to offer Earth in return." There was a long pause before Kim answered. "Commander, my grandfather once told me a story. During a great war on our world, my country was invaded by a powerful enemy. Most of our allies ran away or made deals with the invaders. But one small nation sent soldiers to help us, even though they knew they would probably die. They said it was the right thing to do." Kim's voice grew stronger. "Those soldiers saved my grandfather's life. He always told me that when someone stands up to bullies, you stand with them. It does not matter how big the bully is or how small you are. You do what is right." Vextar felt something he had not felt in days. "Oh, Captain Kim, your ships are badly damaged. You have lost half your people. No one would blame you if you left now. Commander, we humans have another saying, we do not start fights but we finish them. The hegemony started this fight when they decided to attack peaceful people. We are going to finish it." Over the next few hours, human and Zephyrian engineers worked together to repair their ships. Vextar watched as the two species shared technology and ideas. The humans were asking questions about Zephyrian energy systems, while the Zephyrians were amazed by human armor designs. For the first time since this war began, Vextar began to think they might have a chance. The repair bay buzzed with activity as humans and Zephyrians worked side by side for the first time. Sparks flew from welding tools while engineers from both species bent over damaged ship components, trying to understand each other's technology. Chief Engineer Li Jun wiped sweat from his forehead as he examined a Zephyrian power crystal. The blue-green stone hummed with energy, but he could not figure out how it worked. Beside him, Dr. Veldas clicked his mandibles in frustration as he stared at a human fusion core. "Your power systems are very different from ours," Dr. Veldas said in his mechanical-sounding voice. "These fusion reactions are so violent and unpredictable. How do you control them?" Li Jun laughed. "That is the secret. We do not try to control them completely. We just point the explosion in the right direction and hope for the best." Dr. Veldas made a sound that might have been shock. "That sounds incredibly dangerous." "Everything humans do is dangerous," said Captain Choi So-young as she limped over to their workstation. Her left arm was in a medical brace from the last battle, but she refused to stay in the medical bay. "The question is, does it work?" She picked up one of the Zephyrian crystals and held it next to a human power cell. "What if we connect these together? Your crystal gives steady power, our fusion cell gives massive bursts of energy." Dr. Veldas backed away quickly. "That combination would be completely unstable. The energy patterns would fight each other. The weapon might explode in our hands. Or it might punch through hegemony shields like they are made of paper," Choi said with a grin. "Their defensive systems are designed for predictable energy patterns. Hit them with something chaotic and they will not know what to do." Across the repair bay, other teams were having similar conversations. Human pilots were teaching Zephyrian pilots how to fly in ways that their flight computers said were impossible. Zephyrian scientists were showing humans how to use their advanced sensors to see through enemy stealth systems. Commander Vextar walked through the work area, amazed by what he was seeing. His people had always been careful and precise. They planned everything perfectly before taking action. The humans were completely different. They would try something, see if it worked, and if it did not work they would try something else immediately. "Commander," called out Lieutenant Kethare, "we have a problem. The hegemony fleet is moving again. They will be in attack position in 4 hours." Vextar looked at all the repair work still needed. "We are not ready. Half our ships still need major repairs." Captain Kim Hyun appeared beside him, holding a strange device that sparked occasionally. "Maybe we do not need to repair everything perfectly. Sometimes broken things work better than new ones." He showed Vextar the device. It was a Zephyrian targeting computer connected to human weapon systems with cables and wire. "This should not work according to any engineering textbook. The systems are completely incompatible. But look." Kim activated the device, and it immediately locked onto 3 different targets at once, something neither system could do alone. The hybrid targeting system was tracking objects faster and more accurately than either the human or Zephyrian versions. "How is that possible?" Vextar asked. "Because we stopped trying to make it perfect and just made it work," Kim replied. "Your people think like scientists. My people think like survivors. Put those 2 ways of thinking together and you get something new." Over the next 3 hours, the combined fleet prepared for battle in ways that neither species had ever tried before. Human ships were fitted with Zephyrian shield generators, but the humans had modified them to flicker on and off rapidly, making it harder for enemy weapons to lock on. Zephyrian ships received human armor plating, but they had redesigned it to channel energy away from critical systems. The most interesting change was in the pilots themselves. Captain Bei Jinho was practicing flying maneuvers with Zephyrian pilot Subcommander Tiwaxano. The human was teaching the Zephyrian how to do barrel rolls and sudden direction changes that made tracking sensors confused. "Your flight computers must hate this," Bei said as they practiced a particularly difficult spinning maneuver. "They do," Tiwaxano replied. "The computer keeps warning me that we are about to crash. But somehow we do not crash. That is because you are not just following the computer anymore. You are flying by instinct. Feel the ship, do not think about it too much." Meanwhile, Zephyrian engineers were teaching humans how to use their precision targeting systems. Instead of just shooting at the biggest target, the humans were learning to hit specific weak points on enemy ships with surgical accuracy. Dr. Veldas approached Commander Vextar with a worried expression. "Sir, I have been thinking about these hybrid weapons we are building. They violate every safety protocol we have. If something goes wrong during battle they could overload and destroy our own ships." Vextar looked around at the humans and Zephyrians working together, sharing ideas that neither species had ever thought of before. Doctor, our old way of doing things got us into this situation. Maybe it is time to try something new. But sir, the risk is worth taking, Vextar finished. These humans flew into a battle they could not win just to help us. The least we can do is be brave enough to try their ideas. As the enemy fleet approached, both species prepared for a battle unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Grand Admiral Corax of the Hegemony Empire stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, staring at the pathetic fleet hiding among the asteroids ahead. His black armor gleamed under the bridge lights as he studied the tactical display with his 4 red eyes. 500 ships against 37 damaged vessels, he said to his second-in-command. This will be the shortest battle in Hegemony history. The Admiral had brought the entire 7th Fleet to crush this annoying resistance. Word was spreading through the galaxy that a small group of ships had actually damaged Hegemony forces. This could not be allowed to continue. Fear was the Hegemony's greatest weapon, and fear only worked if everyone believed the Hegemony could not be beaten. Sir, we are detecting strange energy readings from the enemy ships, reported the tactical officer. Corax waved a dismissive hand. Desperate modifications. They are trying to make their weak weapons seem stronger. Begin the attack. Hidden among the mining asteroids, Captain Kim Hyun watched the massive enemy fleet approach. His ship's bridge was crowded with both human and Zephyrian officers working side by side at control stations that sparked and hummed with hybrid technology. All ships report ready for Operation Minefield, announced Lieutenant Kethare from her station. Commander Vextar stood beside Kim, his 4 arms steady despite the approaching doom. Captain, are you certain this plan will work? Kim smiled grimly. Commander, I have learned that human plans work best when they should not work at all. The Hegemony fleet moved into the asteroid field in perfect formation, their shields glowing bright blue as they prepared to destroy the hiding rebels. Admiral Corax felt satisfaction as his ships surrounded the pathetic enemy force. Fire at will, he ordered. Leave no survivors. The first Hegemony ships opened fire, their plasma cannons lighting up space with deadly energy. But instead of hitting enemy vessels, their shots struck asteroids that immediately exploded in massive fireballs. What is happening? Corax demanded. Sir, the asteroids are filled with mining charges. The entire field is booby-trapped. Explosions erupted throughout the Hegemony formation as hidden charges detonated around their ships. The asteroids had been turned into a giant minefield, using Zephyrian mining explosives controlled by human remote detonation systems. But the real surprise came when ships that appeared to be destroyed wreckage suddenly powered up and opened fire. Captain Bei Jinho's voice echoed across all communication channels as his ship emerged from a pile of debris. Surprise. Human lesson number 1. Sometimes the best place to hide is right in front of the enemy. His vessel, which had been playing dead among the wreckage of earlier battles, unleashed a devastating attack on the Hegemony flagship's unprotected rear section. The hybrid weapons, combining Zephyrian precision with human unpredictability, cut through shields that were designed to stop conventional attacks. Impossible. Admiral Corax shouted as alarms blared throughout his bridge. How did they get behind us? More dead ships came to life throughout the battlefield. The humans had used an old Earth military trick, hiding functional ships among real wreckage and powering down all systems until the perfect moment to strike. Captain Choi So-young's damaged cruiser fired its new hybrid weapons at a Hegemony destroyer. The chaotic energy patterns confused the enemy's defensive systems, and the shots punched straight through their shields. Their shields cannot adapt to our weapons, she reported over the radio. The energy patterns are too random for their computers to predict. The battle turned into chaos as the Hegemony's perfect formation fell apart. Ships collided with exploding asteroids while hidden enemies attacked from unexpected directions. The Admiral's tactical officers could not understand what was happening because nothing in their military databases had prepared them for this kind of fighting. Zephyrian pilot Subcommander Tiwaxanel flew his modified ship in a spinning pattern that should have been impossible. The human flight techniques he had learned made enemy targeting computers unable to lock onto him as he weaved between Hegemony vessels, firing precisely targeted shots at their weapon systems. Their flight patterns make no sense, reported a Hegemony gunner. The computer cannot predict where they will go next. Then stop using the computer and shoot manually. Admiral Corax screamed. But his crews had been trained to depend on their advanced technology. When that technology failed, they did not know how to adapt. Meanwhile, the human and Zephyrian crews were constantly changing their tactics, trying new approaches whenever the old ones stopped working. The turning point came when Captain Kim's ship, badly damaged and losing power, faced off against Admiral Corax's flagship. The massive hegemony vessel had 10 times the firepower and armor, but Kim had something the Admiral did not understand. All power to weapons, Kim ordered. One shot, make it count. The hybrid cannon charged up with unstable energy that made every system on the ship shake violently. Dr. Veldas had been right about the danger. The weapon could explode and destroy them all. But it did not explode. Instead, it fired a beam of chaotic energy that tore through the flagship's shields like they were made of paper. The shot hit the enemy ship's main reactor, causing a chain reaction that lit up the entire battlefield. Admiral Corex watched his flagship die around him as he realized the truth. The hegemony had always won through superior technology and overwhelming force. But these enemies fought with something his people had forgotten: the willingness to risk everything for each other. As escape pods launched from his burning ship, Corex gave the order he had never given before: all ships retreat. Retreat now. The invincible hegemony empire was running away. 6 months after the Great Battle, New Zephyr Station floated peacefully in orbit around the Zephyrian homeworld. The massive space station was a symbol of the new friendship between humans and Zephyrians, built with technology from both species working together. Admiral Vextar walked through the station's main corridor, watching children from both species play together in the central garden area. Human children with their pale skin and round eyes laughed as they chased Zephyrian younglings with their blue-scaled skin and 4 arms. The sound of their joy echoed through the halls. "Hard to believe it has only been 6 months, said Captain Kim Hyun as he joined Vextar at the observation window. Below them, a group of children were playing a game that mixed human soccer with a Zephyrian sport called crystal toss. The rules made no sense to adults, but the children did not seem to care. They were having too much fun creating something new together. "The war changed everything," Vextar replied. "Not just for our people but for the entire galaxy." It was true. News of the hegemony empire's defeat had spread quickly through all the star systems. For the first time in centuries, someone had stood up to the bullies and won. Small worlds that had lived in fear were now forming their own defense groups. The galaxy was learning that tyrants could be beaten if people stood together. "Admiral Vextar, incoming message from the Altarian Republic," announced a communication officer. Vextar sighed. This was the 3rd call this week from his former allies. "Put them through." The hologram of Admiral Thexron appeared, looking uncomfortable. The tall blue alien who had abandoned them 6 months ago now wanted to talk about friendship again. "Admiral Vextar, the Altarian High Council has been discussing the current political situation. We believe it would be beneficial for both our peoples to re-establish our old alliance. Perhaps we could arrange a meeting to discuss trade agreements and mutual defense." Vextar looked at the Admiral who had called his people a lost cause when they needed help most. "Admiral Thexron, I appreciate the offer, but the Zephyrian Republic already has all the allies it needs. But surely you cannot rely only on the humans. They are a primitive species with limited resources. The Altarian Republic can offer you advanced technology and—" "The humans offered us something more valuable than technology," Vextar cut him off. "They offered their lives when no one else would. That is worth more than all the trade agreements in the galaxy." The hologram flickered as Admiral Thexron tried to find words. "Admiral, please reconsider. The Altarian Republic made a difficult strategic decision, but we have always valued our friendship." "Goodbye, Admiral," Vextar said and ended the transmission. Captain Kim smiled. That was the 4th former ally to call this week. "And they all got the same answer," Vextar replied firmly. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication from the outer system. "Admiral Vextar, this is Captain Lee Minjun of the exploration vessel Friendship. We have discovered a small farming colony under attack by slave traders. The colonists are asking for help. They have no military ships and nowhere to run." Vextar and Kim looked at each other. The Friendship was part of the new joint exploration fleet, with crews from both species working together to explore unknown parts of the galaxy. "Captain Lee, how many enemy ships?" Kim asked. 12 raider vessels against 1 unarmed colony, sir. The farmers are hiding in caves, but the raiders will find them soon." It was an easy decision. "All available ships, prepare for immediate departure," Vextar ordered. "We will not let innocent people suffer while we have the power to help them." 20 minutes later, a combined fleet of human and Zephyrian warships jumped to hyperspace. It was not the largest fleet in the galaxy, but it was fast, well-trained, and motivated by something that many military forces had forgotten: the desire to protect those who could not protect themselves. Back on the station, the children continued playing their impossible game. A human girl named Park Sujin was teaching Zephyrian children how to kick a ball with their feet instead of picking it up with their hands. Meanwhile, a young Zephyrian named Kextun was showing human children how to sing the harmony songs of his people. Dr. Veldaz watched the children from his laboratory window as he worked on new hybrid technologies. Beside him, Chief Engineer Li Jun was designing improved ship engines that combined the best features of both species' technology. "Do you think they will grow up different from us?" Li asked, nodding toward the children. "I hope so," Dr. Veldaz replied. "They are learning that differences make you stronger, not weaker. They will build a galaxy where people help each other instead of abandoning each other." In the communication center, reports were coming in from across the galaxy. The slave raiders had been defeated in less than 2 hours. Another small world had asked to join the growing alliance. A group of young pilots from 6 different species wanted to join the Joint Defense Force. The galaxy was changing. The old powers who had ruled through fear and abandonment were losing their control. In their place, something new was growing, an alliance based not on convenience or profit, but on the simple idea that friends do not abandon friends. As the station rotated slowly in orbit, the laughter of children echoed through its halls, promising a future where no one would ever have to face their enemies alone.